being joined by the former UFC strawweight champion and the young woman who will be returning to action on July 11th, UFC 251, one of the most anticipated fights on that card, Rose Namajunas against Jessica Andrade 2, and she's back. Rose is back. It's been over 7 months since we last talked to her, and it's great to talk to her again. Rose, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah, time flies, huh?
Yes, it has been a while, and happy belated birthday to you as well. I know you celebrated on Monday. Are you a big birthday person? Are you the type who goes crazy on your birthday?
Not normally. I mean, I did a workout today. We'll probably me and my mom will go get some pedicures, and we just hang out with the family, but nothing too crazy.
And of course, this is all going on in the midst of this pandemic, which is still very much a thing. How difficult has it been to train for this fight?
Actually, not at all. I mean, so prior to this training camp, I've actually when I first fought Andrade, I wanted to make my gym into a garage. I mean, I'm sorry, my garage into a gym, and and then I just never got around to it. And then so I finally did, and it just came in perfect timing for all of this. We got the mats in there, we got the weights, all of our gear, and that's pretty much all you need.
So I remember when we last spoke in November, that's when you told us that you were in fact going to continue with your career, that you got the love back. You were a little emotional talking about the state of your career and whatnot. And now here we are, 7 months later, almost 8 months, and you're about to fight. Obviously, you didn't plan on this happening, right? Hello, Pat. How are you? Thank
Hey,
you.
what's up, man?
Good to see you, my man. But I'm just wondering how you feel about the sport now, like perhaps even the extended layoff. Did it help you even more? This is the longest layoff of your pro career. So I'm wondering how it's been for you.
Yeah, it's I love this sport, there's always things to gripe and complain about, but this is what I love to do, man. I'm a martial artist, and I'm, I'm just pretty much hitting my prime right now. So it's just like everything's like all of a sudden coming together. It seemed like everything was kind of falling apart, but now it's sometimes things gotta crumble down before you can put it back together again.
Before the Andrade fight, you mean that it was falling apart?
I think I don't know why, but ever since I turned 26, I think I dealt with a lot of like just becoming an adult was kind of difficult.
Hmm.
um but yeah, just losing my title, and all of that sad all of that ungratefulness and bitterness. I just went through a lot of different stages, and I just kind of grown to understand some things that yeah, it's just everything's temporary. So you just kind of have to live in the moment and
Do you
enjoy
miss
yourself as much as possible.
Absolutely. Do you miss like everything that goes into preparing for a fight, even the fight itself, the Saturday, the nerves, all that stuff? Do you miss that now?
Well, I'm in it, so
Yeah.
I'm enjoying the process. Actually, I'm this has been one of my more fun training camps. Like, it's kind of weird. I'm actually um like the amount of days that I didn't look forward to training has been very seldom, and so that's something that is I'm very happy about.
What do you think the difference is? Is it just the layoff or something else?
It was just an attitude, just being grateful, um knowing that God is in control, and you just kind of have to show up and do your best, and that's really all you can ask for. And then once you're grateful, and once you truly feel grateful, not just knowing like, yeah, like this cup of orange juice is delicious, and not everybody can have orange juice, or I'm just fortunate to have an orange cup of orange juice. It's like actually feeling that gratefulness. That's like a whole nother level of energy boost that you get, that is hard to attain after a while, or when you're going through stuff. But if you can get there, man, it's the most powerful feeling in the world.
Do you miss being champion at all?
um I mean, of course, like just being able to say that, that you have the belt. I mean, that's uh that's quite a feeling.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think what I don't miss the way that I felt as a champion, but I do miss having that belt though.
When you
If that
say
makes
the
sense.
yeah, no, well, when you say the way that you felt when you were champion or as a champion, what did that feel like?
Felt a little bit like when you get up in front of everybody and it's your turn to like to dance and but you ain't ready, you ain't got your moves right. You know what I mean? Everybody's looking at you. That's kind of how it felt like, where you just got this like you feel like everybody's staring at you and then you don't, you just ain't ready for it. That's how it felt.
Do you think
But
maybe in hindsight, like it happened earlier than you expected or had planned for? Like, you were 24, 23 now?
no, I expected to be the champion as soon as I came off the Ultimate Fighter. That's something that I've been working for. But I just didn't really think past it. I didn't think, what would it be like once I became the champion. It's like I just thought I had it all figured out, or not even. I didn't even really have it all figured out. That was my goal, and then I didn't really not only not prepare for after the fact, but I didn't really even have a playbook. Or I mean, there's no playbook to this. It's all just, and that's why you kind of just have to be yourself, and you just have to be honest and open to every experience every day, and just like whatever's in your destiny is your destiny, and you just have to kind of do your best. Like I have something that's special that nobody else has. It's unique to me. And obviously, I mean, there's all kinds of great athletes, like all these fighters are special in their own particular way, but I just have to believe in my own unique abilities, and then just kind of see where it takes me, and then just you know use my experiences to help me with along every step.
Are you the kind of person, like, do you watch the UFC events every Saturday? Does that help you get ready for these fights? Or are you the kind of fighter, and I've met many of them throughout the years, who don't watch anything, who don't really want to spend their Saturday night watching fights?
um like while I was for the longest time I wasn't, I wouldn't, but lately I have been, and I actually have been enjoying the fights a lot lately. I've been a fan again. um Before I was, shoot, I barely, yeah, I barely watched any UFC, especially while I was champion. I was just like, I almost couldn't even turn it on for some reason. I just like, I get like too nervous or something watching it, like I start shaking. But now it's really fun to watch.
Why do you think you like it now?
um I don't know. Just I don't know. I think that's just yeah, yeah, I just see it different. Yeah, it's just a fight. So I think I would just make it bigger than what it really was, and really it's just like go in there, go and swing for the fences, have some fun.
I wonder if you like the environment where there's no one really there. Like, it's just about the fight, right? There's no pomp and circumstance. There's no hoopla. It's just the fight in the empty arena. Does that kind of vibe, mesh with you a little more?
Um that one I mean, I think yeah, less is, I think that can be an advantage for me just because I have experience with being on the Ultimate Fighter, and I didn't really have. It was just, you know what I mean. No, it was just a gym and our coaches. And that's it. But um, I don't know. I don't know if that is quite. That might be one element to it, but I think I just really been enjoying seeing. There's also been really good fights lately. You
Mhm.
know, people have been. I see. I think just you see like the outward expression of like our world and what's going on, and just people just going about their daily lives as much as possible, regardless of what's going on. And I think that's kind of inspiring.
So when you were coming back, of course, you were going to fight in April before the pandemic hit, and the fight was Jessica Andrade, the rematch, the immediate rematch. Did you like that idea when it was presented to you to fight her right again, like right after you had just fought her?
Can you say the question again?
Oh yeah, sorry. So originally you were going to come back in April, right, on the Brooklyn card 249. That was before the pandemic hit, and the fight is the same fight that's happening July 11th, the Jessica Andrade rematch. Did you like that idea of fighting her, in your next fight, immediate rematch, and not fighting someone else?
Oh yeah, to me it don't matter. Fight her, fight Weili, fight. Tatiana, like my next fight, this fight in particular, like obviously I do want to beat Andrade and correct that mistake, but honestly I've put that in the past, and it's not like at one point I was like, I'm gonna get this back, but to me it's just a fight, you know.
Okay.
Now,
Right. So you say you put it behind you. Have you even watched the first fight in preparation for this one?
I've watched it a few times, yeah. Not like recently, but like in the beginning of the camp, yeah.
I still can't get over how good you looked in that first round. Like I still feel like, and correct me if you feel otherwise, that might have been like your best round as a UFC fighter. Do you agree with that?
Hmm.
You were
I
flowing
don't
out
know.
there. I mean, your movement was just
Yeah.
incredible.
My striking did feel really good. But I think I think just based off of the way that I felt, I definitely felt like the way that I felt inside of, like, maybe not just visually like looking at it, but comparatively from the outside, but the way that I felt as a fighter, I felt the best when I fought Joanna the first time. Like I just felt like a totally different experience that I never really that's something that I've always, like, I think all fighters have that feeling
Hmm.
every once in a while, or every once one fight, and then they try to chase that feeling again. you know.
It's like a drug, right? Chase that dragon.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Is a hell of a drug for sure. Yeah.
Um, so
The feeling of invincibility,
right. Are you confident you can get back to that point?
Um, based on my training and based on just my mentality and where everything is kind of led up to this point, it's definitely the makings for a spectacular performance.
Okay.
And
Um,
maybe I would say, hopefully the best performance yet. I mean, my skill and my abilities, and even just the control over myself has been the best it's ever been this whole training camp. So yeah, I'm looking forward to performing.
and then the fight got pushed to May 9th, and then shortly thereafter, you had to withdraw from the fight, and we haven't heard from you really for the last couple months in terms of interviews and whatnot. Um, what we understand is from your manager Brian Butler. Unfortunately, you suffered a couple losses in your family, and I'm very sorry about that. My condolences to your family. Do you mind telling us what happened?
Um, yeah, so a couple family members, they're living in a hot spot where, COVID-19 was. And yeah, they came down with it. They got to put on ventilators, and shortly in a few days, it just happened like that, passed away. So yeah, it was, for the longest time, I've always been, I mean, just as a fighter, we deal with, I mean, I had MRSA before. We deal with we deal with we face death in the face all the time, like, or just severe, like serious injuries and things like that. And so for the whole world to get shut down for something, for a virus, at first seemed like, what is this, like we didn't even know it was real. And then it hit home, and it was like close to family. It was like, well, this is just like, it scared me, it shook me up a little bit. um and yeah, we just went through that process. And now I grieved a little bit, and then I feel better now. I feel like this is, it still scares me, but at the same time it's like, so many other things scare me too. And so like I feel like God is calling me to do this. I read a Bible verse, and it just told me, like, there was like John 9:2-5, and it said that I must work the works while it is day, and there comes a night when no man can work. And when I read that, it just kind of hit me like, this is the time to work, because maybe there's going to be a day where nobody can work. And so this is what I'm called to do, and I got to do this.
How many days apart did they pass away? Was it on the same day or?
I it 2 days. Oh, set like within a week.
Man, I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a horrible thing, and everyone understood why you would withdraw. I mean, even it was also fresh. No one knew like how safe it was going to be or not. But did you just feel like you weren't in the right space mentally after suffering two, tragedies like that to compete? Was that ultimately why you withdrew from the May 9th date?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think yeah, I mean, I've seen fighters that have had like deaths in their family, and then they go out there and everybody deals with death differently. You know what I mean? For me, it just wasn't a good idea, And honestly, like this is like it's been a great in a way it's been a reset for me, like it puts things into perspective. Like I was just going into it before, I was like kind of just focused on um trying to control everything around me, and trying to make all these situations perfect and all this stuff, and then it was like everything just fell apart. Everything was looking good, and then everything just fell apart, and then it was like it just was a wake up call for me. Like I can't control anything but myself, and that's what's the most important. And so even though it was very tragic, I learned a lot from it. And that's all we can do is just keep praying, and know that this life is uh temporary. Like everything's temporary. So yeah, I just gotta, hopefully, like, I mean, not everybody's the same, but for me, what helps me is believing in my higher power, and knowing that I have a purpose, and this is my purpose right now. It's not gonna be my purpose forever, but this is what I'm doing right now, and I gotta make the most of it, and enjoy it.
How much time off did you take?
I don't remember. I mean, it was all kind of a blur,
Mm,
like I
yeah.
think even when even before that, when the shutdown, everything got like shut down, I was in pretty positive spirits, but just like the city itself was kind of gloomy and everything. So like once all that happened and everything, nobody knew what was going on. It was just like a blur of like a month of what felt like a month of just like kind of depression almost.
Hmm.
Yeah, close airplane.
Yes. And so, once you started to get back, and was it a situation where like you told, or your management told the UFC, okay, we're open to being rebooked now? How did that work for you to get back on another card?
Yeah, so basically, yeah, we were just I mourned a little bit, and then we sat around, you know, feeling all sad, and then got over that, and then started to just sitting at home and just thinking, like reconnecting, like getting spiritual again, and just sort of finding myself again. I started to like realize I got to do something, and that's why martial arts is so beautiful, because um ever since I was little, not having much control over my situation. But when I did go to martial arts practice, that gave me a sense of control over myself. And so if I can control myself, then no matter what's around me is happening, at least I can control my reactions to that. And so that's what it gave me, and always gave me a sense of power over my situation. And so that's kind of what happened again is, I was feeling sad and like, oh, this is not fair. And then I started training again, and then it felt good again. And then I read that Bible verse, and then it was like, well, I guess it's time to work. Jesus said so.
Have you always been religious, or is this something new that's come to you?
I think not. Yes, it's always been. I think I think just like anybody, we all go through phases in our life of. For me, there's been times where I haven't, and then there's times where I've been through so many things that it's undeniable for me that this is what is my reality. It doesn't have to be everybody else's, but this is what I experience. And so more and more lately, it's been more important in my life. And I think not having a father, I think that played a lot into it. But for me at least, and that's why I always said the Lord's Prayer, because I would be speaking to my father.
Oh, really? I didn't, meaning like
Like my heavenly
your
father.
heavenly Father. Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, and I thought you only did that part of that second Joanna fight. You always did that?
always. Yeah. Anytime I was in trouble, or anytime I I needed something. I always, I mean, and now it's just a daily practice. It's always I pray and then I finish off with the Lord's Prayer, just in
Okay.
case I forgot something.
Right.
But
Was
yeah.
that when you did it in the weigh-in for the second Joanna fight? Was that the first time you did it in a weigh-in, or is it just we noticed it maybe because you're
No,
moving?
that was the first time I did it at the weigh-in, because I felt like that whole experience was that was a whole spiritual experience itself. Just the whole build up to it, the week of the fight, the afterward, like just the whole Joanna saga. That was, I feel like that one day I'll write a book about that, because
Wow.
there was so many like weird coincidences and weird things that I don't believe in coincidences no more, and what I felt in that moment is that's what I needed. I needed my father at that moment.
Wow. Do you wanna write a
Mhm.
book? Is that something you're planning on doing?
I want to, but man, priorities, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I'm hoping to do.
You're still very young, so you got a lot more, chapters to write,
That's
so
what I think. That's what it is too. I'm writing journals, so maybe I'll just keep my journals and then we'll do it later.
have you always been a journal writer?
um, I think what made me really, I think when I started getting to the Ultimate Fighter, I really relied on journaling a lot. But I think I've always been a writer, and then when I got into the Ultimate Fighter, I really relied on that a lot because I didn't have Pat to talk to every day, and he's my best friend, so I had to talk to somebody.
Right.
Obviously I had the girls on the team and stuff, but it's I think it's a little different, and like
Of course.
Pat's very special to me.
Of course, yeah, that's your partner, as
Yeah.
opposed to people who are trying to beat you in a competition, so I can
Yeah,
understand
exactly.
why it's a little different. And it's good to see Pat. It's good to see that he's doing well. So you are fighting on this card in Abu Dhabi. They just had the string of fights in Las Vegas. How did you feel about being on the quote unquote Fight Island card as opposed to one that's just a few hours away from you in Las Vegas? Did you like the idea of going overseas?
Hell no. But at the same time, it is kind of cool. Yeah, after going to Brazil, I was like, I never do that, but then I always say that, and then I end up, like I said, it's. I feel that's something that I just I just think it's the perfect timing, So I think the timing's better than is more important than the location. Plus,
We got offered a fight 3 weeks later in Vegas.
yeah, yeah, we got offered it in Vegas a little bit later, and I didn't know what was going to happen with this whole
Mm.
stuff going on, and so I just
Bible verse.
and then I read that Bible verse, and yeah, that's what Jesus says. So, I felt it in my heart, like this is what I need to go do. Yeah, Abu Dhabi's kind of far, but it's kind of weird because like prior to when the fight was still on before, they were talking about it being in the Middle East before it ended up being in Florida. And
Mhm.
so it just almost seems like maybe maybe that's where I'm getting pulled to for some reason, we don't really know why, but mm, I don't know. I think it's cool, and just me being more spiritual now. It's like it's kind of spiritual stomping grounds, and there's Jerusalem ain't far. There's all the Middle East. It's a lot of tension on going on over there, and it's just but it's so cool. Like I've yeah, I've also been learning a little bit about Islam, and it's pretty interesting actually, like diving down in deep into it too.
Wow. Are you doing this all by yourself or with family, or do you have someone teaching you and guiding you?
No, just by myself.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
I be going down the rabbit holes, but it's also just it's just something I like to do, and I think it's just a never ending journey.
Mhm. Um,
Yeah,
so my understanding is you guys have to fly to Las Vegas and you take a test there and then you quarantine and then you get on a charter plane. And when you land in Abu Dhabi, you take a test and then you go to the hotel and take another test and then another test after the weigh-ins and then a fifth test after the fight. And there's all these procedures and it's like you're living in a bubble. Have you wrapped your head around all this stuff? And also in addition to that, you're fighting in the middle of the night or very, very early in the morning, right? You'll be fighting at like 7 a.m. or so, or 6:30 or so, to cater
yeah.
to the North American audience. How do you feel about all the other stuff that comes along with fighting overseas?
Um, I feel obviously that can seem daunting, but I'm fine with it. I have faith that everything's gonna be okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I will say this. When I was wondering about is the heat, and I seen a picture of them making
Yeah.
the cage outside, and I'm like, are they gonna have this outside? This is crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it'll be an experience. So I'm just like, God, I'm gonna take care of my part. I'm gonna control myself, but the external situations, I can't control none of that. So
My understanding is it won't be outside. It will be like in an enclosed area.
okay, I'm
In
ready
the
for whatever. So
Yeah. Will you stay on like Mountain Time Zone because you'll technically be fighting at like 9 p.m. Denver time as opposed to 7 a.m.
yeah,
Abu Dhabi time? Does that just make more sense?
it makes more sense because I don't even think we'll have enough time to like, not acclimate, but like switch over times, because it's
Right.
only, we'll probably get there like, 7-8 days before.
I talked to Zhang Weili recently, and she said that she wanted to fight you next. Hello, Pat. How are you?
Pretty good. Question.
Yes.
We're flying all the way to Abu Dhabi,
Yes.
Yas Island. They're going to close up the whole island. We get tested 5-10 times while we're there, and we have to stay in our room the entire time. So then what's awesome about fighting on Fight Island?
That's a good question, Pat.
Like we're not gonna, I don't think that we're gonna be like, we're not gonna get to see a cougar in the passenger seat of a Rolls Royce, or like we're not gonna, I don't, from what I'm hearing,
regulars.
we're not be able to experience, like we're gonna fly all the way over there just to stay in a hotel room and then go have a fight and then fly back. Like, why is fighting on Fight Island magical?
Well, I don't know if it's magical. The main reason why they had to have it is so that international fighters could fight, right? So like this fight couldn't happen
Okay,
in
but I
Las
have
Vegas.
a question though, because wasn't there international fighters at the Apex Center? Like,
So
didn't
yes,
they?
there was a Dan Hooker who just fought this past Saturday, right? And so what
Yeah.
he had to do was he had to get like a special visa, which is fine. He got it. Now he has to go back home and quarantine for 14 days in some government issued hotel. And he was down to do that, but I don't know. I think that was because, and I'm not an expert at this right now, but
Right.
New Zealand, very low cases, if not zero cases at this point. Brazil, for example, your opponent is from Brazil.
Yeah.
It is very high right now, so I don't think that they could come into the States and have these fights. And same with the European fighters as well. But yes, I don't think it's magical or anything like that. It's just more to have the international fighters, and that's why I was wondering if you would have preferred to fight in Vegas.
This is gonna be magical though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, you're gonna have
the-
you're gonna have your own gym and restaurant and all that stuff, and the food will all be prepared. But it's like basically a bubble of a 10-mile radius, which is my understanding, and you can't leave that bubble, and no one can enter the
Yeah.
bubble. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Mm-hmm. Can I see that charger? Yeah.
Oh, just a couple minutes. Why is your phone about to die?
No. But I'm just doing that just in case, because for some reason the light just dimmed down a little bit.
Okay. I was just wondering. I spoke to Zhang Weili recently, and she told me before your fight got announced that she wanted to fight you next. Was there ever any talk of that fight happening as opposed to this one?
No, like obviously, prior to, wait, was it like a long time ago there was, but like, I mean, that was when I was still not fighting.
Okay. Do you think that is this fight basically for the title?
I mean, that would seem only obvious, but like, yeah, I'm not thinking about that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I love to fight her one day, but she's a true martial artist, and but yeah. But yeah, I'm only thinking about this fight right now. And yeah, if something happens with Andrade, she steps in, and great. But you know what I mean? Like, this is what's happening right now,
Did you see her fight against Joanna?
I did, yeah.
Did you think as highly of it as everyone else?
That's the thing. Like, this, okay, it was a great fight, and like Joanna, both of them is some savages for sure. However, the only gripe that I have about it being like the best fight ever or whatever is that people always say that. Like, I don't think that that's a good thing. Like, I don't think that that's a good thing to have the best fight ever based on how people look at the best fights ever. They always, like, if you think about the best fights, when people say that, it's always a lack of defense. Like people is getting hit a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like to me, that's not the best fight ever. If you look at my fight against the second fight, you know, because that went all 5 rounds. You know, my head movement was shoot, you know what I mean? So like, I mean, I got a little bit of a busted lip, but I mean, other than that, or maybe I don't remember, like a little scratch here and there, but that was mostly just from me slipping the punches like perfectly like out of the way. So to me, it was an awesome display of art or heart, and I was like truly impressed with both of them, but at the same time, like only so much, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't the best fight ever. Like to me, I feel like I look at fights differently than most of fans do. Like even the last fight last night, that was an amazing fight, but I wouldn't say that's the best fight of the year, the Dustin Poirier versus Dan Hooker, because they was just like just getting hit, like taking so much damage. And to me, like it's cool because like to see the heart, but like I like to see like skill too, you know. I like to see like, you know, defense and on top of like just outworking somebody and just beating them up, you know what I mean?
You don't want to just see rock'em sock'em robots. You want to see people
not all
slipping
the
punches.
time.
Right.
Like a little bit, but I mean to me, like sometimes that gets played out, you know.
Yep.
If that's the case, Leonard Garcia is the greatest fighter ever.
That's right.
Right.
That's
yeah,
right.
like I think like to me, like good head movement and like footwork and like and also being able to just like you know, it was the greatest fight ever recently was the Josh Emmett versus the other dude I forgot with the
Shane
hair.
Burgos.
Yes, dude, that was like a beautiful display of like both two different styles. Like that was, to me, that was like the fight of the year, you know, better than, and yeah, I don't know, but
no, I hear what you're saying 100%. Sometimes we value too much of these brawls and there's no technique, there's no defense or anything like that. So I can understand what you're saying 100%. By the way, before I let you go, just curious, you haven't tweeted since November of 2019. Any particular reason why?
Oh,
done with Twitter?
I think Twitter just kind of bores me, you know. I try to, I don't even really post that much anyways. So yeah, like just the whole, like the fact that you can't delete your Facebook or you can't change your name, and because like the government has your identity like in it, like that creeps me out. So like I'm already too deep in anyway, so it doesn't matter. But like to me, it's like all the social media stuff, like I have to for my job, like because obviously like the more that I post, the better. And I do like genuinely want to connect with my fans. Like I think it's a great way to like communicate, but at the same time, it's like, man, it gets overwhelming sometimes. Like you got to monitor what you get dragged into, and all of a sudden you're just on that all day, you know?
I did love a few months ago, you wrote something really nice about your brother, who I've gotten to know on social media, about your relationship over the years and how that's evolved. And it seems like you guys are in a great place as well. And I believe he's going to become, I know he was an amateur fighter, but he's going to go pro, or has he gone pro yet?
Not yet.
Not
I
yet.
think that's what he's planning on. He was going to just recently before all the pandemic started, but he's working on it right now.
Okay. All right, Rose.
Hello?
Well, yep.
Wait, hello?
I lost you there for a quick second, but now I got you back.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to thank you for the time. It's so great to have you back. I think the fans, I mean, they really missed you. I'm sure you've seen that. People have really missed seeing you fight. Doug Rose. They're all very excited. It's one of the most anticipated fights on the UFC 251 card. And it's great to see you smiling. It's great to see you inspired and in a good place. And I personally can't wait to see you back on July 11th. So again, belated happy birthday to you. Thank you so much for the time. My best to your family, and good luck on July 11th.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.